sports. It's in the game.
Coming from Zandvoort to Monza, you wouldn't really be able to tell much of a difference in terms of the atmosphere here, but the big difference is of course in the colour of the support. We've gone from the frenzied atmosphere at Zandvoort for the orange colour of the Max Legion, now to the Tifosi and the red for their beloved Ferraris. And Monza is known as the Temple of Speed. The atmosphere and the track is perfect for a weekend of Formula 1 racing, the fastest track on the Formula 1 calendar, only broken up by a few chicanes, breaking up the high-speed thrills. Well, this weekend is certainly going to be an interesting one because the grid penalties were given out galore going into this race, with many of the top players receiving penalties for component changes. The real benefactors here could not be Ferrari, but maybe Alfa Romeo and HAAS. The Ferrari B-Spec power unit has been known to be very powerful this season, and the HAAS driver, in particular Aiden Jackson, is out of position starting in 8th. So with that monster Ferrari B-Spec power unit in the back of his car, who knows where he might even end up. It could be a vital weekend for HAAS, with Jackson starting ahead of both Alfa Romeos, considering the Constructors' Championship. So let's take a look at the full grid then for the 2021 Italian Grand Prix round 14 of this incredible season. Valtteri Bottas is once again on another pole position as he cannot be stopped. He's joined at the front row this time by Sergio Perez. Pierre Gasly had a 5-place grid penalty for his misdemeanor in Zandvoort, but starts 3rd anyway. Fernando Alonso goes from 4th. Lewis Hamilton was the first of the penalties, down in 5th ahead of Mark Stroll. Lewis Hamilton was on pole position. Daniel Ricciardo starts 7th alongside Aiden Jackson with his highest position of the season in 8th, followed by Max Verstappen and Antonio Giovinazzi. That scrap between Alfa Romeo and HAAS just got a little bit tighter. Leclerc is followed by George Russell. Lando Norris is followed by Yuki Tsunoda. You can see the real big players having plenty of energy penalties here. Raikkonen is alongside Ocon. Mick Schumacher goes up to 17th ahead of Nicholas Latifi. The back row of the grid is another huge surprise as Carlos Sainz is down in 19th place alongside Sebastian Vettel, who for the second race of the season starts in last place again due to the plethora of grid penalties given. Well, what a topsy-turvy grid we've got here. We've got Pierre Gasly in 3rd, we've got Aiden Jackson in 8th, we've got Lance Stroll in 6th, Fernando Alonso in 4th, Verstappen in 9th, and I think it was Lewis Hamilton. No, Lewis Hamilton was down in 5th, but we still got Alonso in 4th, Gasly in 3rd, and Gasly knows his way around here. Pierre Gasly was a winner here, of course, last season, so he knows his way around here, and despite having a grid penalty for taking out George Russell in Zandvoort, many other of the big players have penalties and promoted them up to 3rd anyway. The big benefactor of all these penalties, down there in 8th, Aiden Jackson. Started 15th after getting through into Q2 once again in the HAAS. The HAAS is really good round here. The power is really suiting them. It looks like HAAS has got a decent power of grunt in that Ferrari power unit, the B-Spec unit, as we said. Probably the most powerful engine of the season, considering it's been a race winner already with Carlos Sainz at the French Grand Prix. What a vital weekend this could prove to be for HAAS. Aiden Jackson is in the perfect position to score a boatload of points for HAAS right now, and they fell behind Alfa Romeo a couple of races ago in the Constructors' Championship. The problem Aiden has got, however, is that Max Verstappen is directly behind him. He needs to stay ahead of Giovinazzi to keep Alfa Romeo out of the points. Giovinazzi's got a good position in 10th, and Kimi Raikkonen's not so far behind either, so Alfa Romeo could be going for another double points finish. For HAAS it seems a little less unlikely, with Mick Schumacher down in 17th, pretty much being outshone by Jackson this weekend. with Jackson making a Q2 appearance, but the only reason he's up to 8th is because of the plethora of give penalties, which puts that HAAS out of position. And we know how good Jackson is at the start. That could be crucial as well. What a new scenario this is for Aiden Jackson. It's not new to him. He's been at the front before in Formula 2 in his rise to 5th in the Drivers' Championship that season. So he knows what to do. And of course, Aiden Jackson was a winner here in the sprint race last year. 5 red lights ahead of a drivers, green flag at the back for the Italian Grand Prix. It is lights out, away we go, go, go. And Valtteri Bottas has got a pretty much another good start because he seems to get good today. Pierre Gasly there, around the outside of Sergio Perez already. And he's taken it. And there's a yellow flag at the back. There's a traffic jam, I think. Someone has stopped. What is going on? Sebastian Vettel's having to reverse. What is Sebastian Vettel reversing for? There's debris all over the first chicane. I'm surprised the safety car hasn't been deployed yet. There's Nicholas Latifi, and he's lost his front wing. Nicholas Latifi has lost his front wing, and he's out of the Grand Prix already. So that was the reason for the traffic jam at the first chicane there. Sebastian Vettel having to reverse. Aiden Jackson is 4th. Aiden Jackson is 4th. How did he get there? Another stunning start by Aiden Jackson. He's ahead of Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. And HAAS will be savouring this for all they can. Because that is a sight we didn't think we'd see this season already. Lewis Hamilton is chasing Aiden Jackson for legit position. And he's going to be really confused. Because he'll have no idea how Jackson even got there from 8th on the grid. Another stunning start by Aiden Jackson. He's on the tail of the top 3. Pierre Gasly moved into P2, and Hamilton and Jackson are side by side with the parabolica, and you have to think that Lewis is going to win out in the power of the Mercedes, and Jackson tries to fight back. He's going to stay with side by side going to the first chicane. It's pretty even without DRS, I suppose. The Ferrari got massive grunt in the back of that HAAS, and it's helping Jackson stay side by side with Lewis Hamilton as they enter the first chicane, and Jackson's going to brake later and he's going to keep the position. Oh my word. What a great piece of driving there from Jackson. Obviously, DRS has not been activated yet after the second race, and that will be activated. So big changes in the top 10. Bottas leaves from Pierre Gasly. Sergio Perez goes down to 3rd, followed by Jackson, who's got Lewis Hamilton behind him. Then down Ricciardo, Lance Stroll, Antonio Giovinazzi has moved up to 8th. Charles Leclerc is 9th ahead of Max Verstappen. There he is. So Max Verstappen has lost out. So the big winner is obviously Aiden Jackson up to 4th already. Fernando Alonso is actually going to the pits. He has damage somewhere, so he's lost out. What a great start that was by Gasly. Right up alongside Bottas as well. So he almost got Bottas into the chicane. He probably took a little bit too much curb, but that gave Bottas the advantage out of the chicane. So Pierre Gasly almost going into the lead here. So here's the start from Jackson then. Probably one of our favourite replays of the whole season because we see it a lot. And he tapers to the inside. It's literally vintage Mick Schumacher like start here that put Schumacher into 2nd position in the Formula 2 race feature race last year. So Jackson and Schumacher actually winners here last year, of course. And that was a great start by Jackson up into 4th place already. So what happened to Alonso here? He gets bogged down. He's probably going to be pretty much surprised by the fact that the HAAS is coming up the inside of him there. Let's see. Oh, he hits Jackson. He probably doesn't even know Jackson's there. So that'll be a reason for damage then. Alonso's going to have to change his front wing because the front wings have been very fragile on these F1 cars this season. And now I think we're going to get a clearer picture of what happened here at the back. So Latifi gets a brilliant second phase of the start. The Alfa Romeo of Raikkonen gets bogged down. Latifi loses the back end and hits the other Alpine of Esteban Ocon. And I think it pretty much takes him out of the race. Sainz has to stop. Vettel has to reverse. 5-second penalty for car 44 for ignoring yellow flags. That's Lewis Hamilton. For some reason, Hamilton was long since past this incident. That's a strange decision. Yeah, Latifi just loses it and crashes into Ocon. Ocon fortunately has no damage. He's able to carry on. Antonio Giovinazzi comes to a stop. Schumacher came to a stop. Vettel had to reverse. And through all of that, Lewis Hamilton's been given a penalty, a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags, but he's long since passed the yellow flag zone, so in theory Bottas, Gasly, Perez and Jackson should also get yellow flags, or 5-second penalties for ignoring yellow flags as Hamilton goes down the inside of Aiden Jackson. Now sees the collision. Jackson feigns and moves back down the outside and retakes the position. Lewis Hamilton is struggling to pass Aiden Jackson, and now he's got a 5-second penalty to deal with. And well, Aiden Jackson is certainly using that HAAS power unit in the Ferrari to good use here. I meant that the other way around, but I think I knew what I meant. I just said it in the wrong order. But here we go then. Then we're going to have a look at the replay of this move. He gives Hamilton the space to pass him. Of course, no DRS activated until this lap. And he brakes just much later than Hamilton on the outside. He has the corner. He takes it nice and cleanly. Jackson has been great at taking that chicane in this weekend. He's been great at taking the corners here. But Jackson is absolutely fighting tooth and claw for 4th place in this race. What a crucial race this could be for Jackson now. He's just raised the stakes because he needs to be as far ahead of the Alfa Romeos as possible. Now we're going to have a 3rd attempt from Lewis Hamilton. This time he goes to the outside of Jackson. Is Jackson going to try and outbrake him into the chicane? He is, you know. Jackson back down the inside this time. And I think there might have been contact there. Hamilton hits the curb and hits him. That's a piece of front wing going off. That's Lewis Hamilton probably going to have to pit now. I think Hamilton has sustained damage there. The front piece that fell off. Because I think Hamilton took a bit too much curb on the inside there. Was he forced to take that curb by Jackson perhaps? Let's have a look. This is how Perez passed Gasly. So, excuse me, so Perez passed Gasly and all that. We missed it because we were watching Hamilton and Jackson fight it out. Great move there by Perez to take 2nd place from Gasly. Obviously, the Red Bull is probably a lot better than the AlphaTauri, even though they had the same power in the back, of course. And now, Lewis Hamilton taking to the outside this time. Jackson once again giving him pretty much a car's width. That could be quite close, but he gives him the car's width to go through. And let's see what happens here. I'm guessing Jackson just tucks back in for a bit of slipstream, and he throws it up the inside, and Hamilton has to take to the curb and hits Jackson. Will Jackson have any damage? Did Jackson give him enough room? I think he might have done from that. Let's have a look here. He pretty much catches Hamilton out by which just retaliating really, because the HAAS is obviously not the best on the grid compared to the Mercedes. It's light and day. Jackson takes the curb, and I think he has the corner to me. That's fair from Jackson. That's unfortunately Hamilton just getting it all wrong and taking too much curb and hitting Jackson. He's lost a bit of his front wing, so he'll have to pit, and he'll obviously have to serve the 5-second penalty in the pit lane then. There's Charles Leclerc going around the outside. That'll please Ferrari fans. Of course, Charles Leclerc a winner here in 2019 with Ferrari, of course. And there's a whole gaggle of cars there between from Giovinazzi down to about George Russell, I think, as Hamilton comes into the pit lane, presumably to change the front wing. And they're going to have to wait 5 seconds, of course, because Hamilton had that penalty for ignoring yellow flags. And what are they putting on Hamilton there? They're putting the soft tyres on again. So Hamilton's actually going to go onto the soft tyres, but with the speed that is apparent here, Hamilton might not do too bad from there. He's just been passed by Alonso, who obviously had to pit on the first lap. Safety car would really aid Lewis Hamilton right now, but at the same time, the Mercedes power unit has been light and day ahead of most cars this season, including the Ferrari B-Spec power unit. So Hamilton should maybe still get a point from there. It's very early in the race. It's only lap 5, so Hamilton's got plenty of time to get back into the points, but that's not what he needed. But to me, I think Jackson gave him the space and Hamilton just had no real room aside from that too. I think it was the fact that Jackson came back up the inside and Hamilton wasn't expecting it, which can be an understandable thing there. But anyway, back to the race then. The big benefactor of all this carnage, Esteban Ocon up in P10. He got hit I think he got hit by Latifi on the first lap. Carlos Sainz is up to P15 already. Vettel's up to P16. They've obviously dispatched of slower cars such as Fernando Alonso and Mick Schumacher in the HAAS. Side by side, Lando Norris and Esteban Ocon. This is Norris for P10. He's sticking to the outside and he's got him already. Yuki Tsunoda, in pale comparison to his teammate, is down in P12 with Gasly down in P3 behind Perez. And a runaway leader, Valtteri Bottas, who already has a 2-second lead over Perez. So it's going to be another Bottas procession race, it seems. because Bottas' form has been pretty much impeccable in the latter stage of the season. So Aiden Jackson still holding his own in 4th place there. That move he did on Hamilton was more than fair in my opinion, because he gave Hamilton the room to go through the chicane. There probably would have been about a contact anyway, no matter how you dress that up. But Jackson really could just call Hamilton out. Didn't expect Hamilton to see a HAAS back there in the corner, but Jackson owned the corner, so I think he was entitled to it. And Hamilton had to take to the curb and he hit Jackson. So really, I do think that even if Jackson hadn't really given Hamilton a car's width, I think it would have been rectified by the fact that Hamilton hit him anyway. So either way, it was a bit of a mess. But here comes Daniel Ricciardo for his attempt. He's taking to the inside of Jackson now. Jackson's going to have DRS though, because he was behind at the detection point. That's very well played from Jackson. Good race sense there to try and give Ricciardo just ahead to get the DRS zone. And he benefited from that. So definitely the Ferrari power unit is definitely going to aid Jackson here. He's not forming a train as quickly as he would in other places. Lewis Hamilton is absolutely blitzing it at the front with the fastest lap of a 1:23.296. That will take some beating. Of course, Hamilton is on fresher soft tyres now after the pit stop. But aside from that, he's still got 6 seconds to catch Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. I think you can see him just as the speck in the... There he is. So Hamilton is really getting the pedal down in this one. But he's got a long way to go to get back into the points. A safety car would really save his bacon right now. The safety car can be a high possibility here at times. We had one in 2000 with that very much multi-car pile-up that unfortunately took the life of a marshal that year. And then there was all sorts of commotion over whether there would be yellow flags in 2001. And then obviously Michael Schumacher revealing later in 2005 that there was that story in the brewing and all the teams and drivers going to ignore the yellow flags. All the possibility of yellow flags. We've got 3 wide here, down at the first chicane. Aiden Jackson leading with Stroll, Ricciardo and Leclerc all in a line. He's going to go 2 by 2 into the first chicane. What is going to happen here? And Jackson is going to take the advantage because Stroll took too much curb. Charles Leclerc is there with Daniel Ricciardo. They were 2 by 2 by Parabolica, by the way. But just to continue that story, as we watch a replay of the sensational racing here, Lance Stroll trying to be the big benefactor. He was going to take 4 cars in one go at one point. He'd actually got ahead of Jackson as well. So it was fantastically done by Lance Stroll, but then he does all his hard work by taking the inside curb. He hit Jackson as well. So Jackson is turned into a target on everybody's cars today. But fortunately, the HAAS is still in one piece. But yes, to continue the story, there was Michael Schumacher said that there was somewhat a discussion between drivers and teams to ignore the yellow flags that was almost set in 2001. Of course, that didn't happen. We went racing as normal. And that was Max Verstappen benefiting from that 3 wide battle there by Leclerc and the McLaren of Lando Norris. Lando Norris is making up ground really quickly here. He's up at 8th now. So Lando Norris is flying. He's now past Lance Stroll for P7. We've got movers everywhere. Stroll trying to go back down the inside. They're going to hold side by side for the chicane. Norris is going to have the better drive going out of the chicane, although I do think he got a little bit of a tank slapper there. So that might aid Stroll out. But this is where the train is. It's not Aiden Jackson. It's pretty much around Lance Stroll to about maybe Kimi Raikkonen and Carlos Sainz. That's where the train is today. Max Verstappen. Sensational stuff to get back up into P5, and now he's chasing Aiden Jackson, so now it's his turn to try and pass Aiden Jackson today. Aiden Jackson is going to make that HAAS the widest car he can possibly have, because he wants to hold on to this 4th place, and with Alfa Romeo getting 1 point at the moment, Jackson would be on for 12 points in 4th position, and that would put HAAS back ahead of Alfa Romeo in the Constructors' Championship. Well, he's not going to catch the lead as Aiden Jackson. He's already fallen about 8 seconds behind Perez, who has been repassed by Pierre Gasly, by the way. We missed it. Max Verstappen going into P4, clean as you like, but there was the detection zone and Aiden Jackson was behind. Now, we're going to see something very interesting here. How much has Jackson got to try and get back ahead of Verstappen? Meanwhile, we've got Perez and Gasly still battling out for P2 as Perez gets back in front of him. And Jackson does have DRS. He's going to fade a move to the inside, takes to the inside, and passes Verstappen before we even got to the chicane. That Ferrari power unit is mighty at this track. and Aiden Jackson is using it to its full potential. Fantastically done once again by Aiden Jackson. The rookie from Northamptonshire is having a blinder once again. Here Gasly in third place, losing out to Perez there, and Valtteri Bottas, the runaway leader, by 9 seconds. He is absolutely cakewalk for Valtteri Bottas, and he just seems completely unstoppable at the moment. He'll be boosted by the fact that Lewis Hamilton is out of the points. He's just passed Charles Leclerc for 18th place, so I think Hamilton has pitted again because he wasn't. No, he was last, so he's just passed Leclerc. So what's happened to Leclerc? He's probably pitted Leclerc, I would have thought. Max Verstappen going down the inside of Jackson again. This time he's not close enough in that section. So let's see. Well, despite a power deficit to the top drivers on the grid, Jackson is holding his own. And there was Daniel Ricciardo fighting with Verstappen. And that was almost the case. And Verstappen's gone wide, and Ricciardo's going to take advantage. So, was Verstappen forced wide there by Jackson? I very much doubt it. Jackson was on the inside of the paddock the whole time. And now Ricciardo and Verstappen are coming into the pits to change tyres, I would assume. Lewis Hamilton would have to pit again because he fitted the softs on after changing the front wing. And there's Mick Schumacher. He's up to 11th after all that. George Russell's in the points, and there's a spinning Yuki Tsunoda, and he's caused a traffic jam. Vettel was stopped, and there's George Russell, and Schumacher's hit Russell, I think. The safety car is deployed, and Mick Schumacher is out of this race. He's lost his front wing, and that was all caused by Yuki Tsunoda. And the McLaren of Lando Norris is bouncing over the curbs. Yuki Tsunoda, he kept the engine running. He's on the side of the track there, and Carlos Sainz has gone through the debris, and I think the safety car is the right decision, and Tsunoda's finally got going again, and that was all caused by Tsunoda. Well, what happened here? He was fighting with the Aston Martin there of Stroll, because I think Vettel was behind him, or was that Vettel? Let's see. So he doesn't really try and move there. He gets out on the curve, too much throttle when he spins, and it is Vettel that he holds up. Tsunoda goes to reverse and then stops. So Vettel and George are stuck, and Schumacher is the big loser because he loses his front right left wheel and is out of the Grand Prix. Now, the big benefactors of this are going to be Lewis Hamilton, the race leader, Valtteri Bottas, because now he gets a free pit stop with everyone trailing him behind. Perez is coming as well, Pierre Gasly has, and Aiden Jackson this will help as well, because I don't think anyone behind him is pitted yet. So there's Giovinazzi coming in. So where is Aiden going to feed back out when he comes out of the pit lane here? It's going to be very interesting. Bottas was a mile clear of everyone, so he's going to lead the pack round, but he's going to have his advantage wiped out by the safety car. Jackson goes onto the medium tyres. He might make it to the end of the race on those, because it's not really a taxing track in terms of tyre wear. That's Lance Stroll changing his front wing. Which is surprising. Why would Stroll have to change his front wing? He must have had a clash with someone there, because Stroll was ahead of Tsunoda at the time. So why Stroll's having to change his front wing, I don't really know. I thought Vettel would have, and George might have to as well. But this also brings Lewis Hamilton right back into play. He's in P17 and was chasing Alonso, and I think he's 8 seconds behind him. So once the pack bunches up, from the first appearance of the season of the Mercedes safety car, so we have had 2 races now where the safety car has been called, and both of them have been used this season. So now Valtteri Bottas has had his advantage wiped out, but he's had the legs of Gasly and Perez already anyway, so when it comes down to it, Bottas should be fine on the restart. And here's Aiden Jackson. Well, he's been the biggest benefactor in all this. I'm sure the HAAS crew called him in immediately to change his tyres, and he's on the mediums. Now, this is what is interesting here is that Gasly is on the hards, so Jackson could get a decent restart. Dare we say it, Jackson might be able to run in 3rd place because he's got a tyre and power advantage over Pierre Gasly. So, very interesting scenarios brewing here. Here is Alonso and Hamilton. They're not caught back up to the safety car yet, but they soon will. And it benefits Hamilton immensely now because he's going to really be able to fly. And I think he's on a set of mediums. There is George Russell. You can't really blame George Russell for having Schumacher out of the race. It wasn't really anyone's fault. It's just that Mick really had nowhere to go as he was exiting the chicane with Tsunoda facing the wrong way and Vettel and George stopping in front of him, and then Tsunoda just not getting out of the way. He reversed and then stopped. And well, look at this. This is legit. Aiden Jackson in P4. This has been absolutely legit from Aiden Jackson so far. He's not going to win this race. You know, it's going to be a tall order to win this race, but he might go for third here because he's got Pierre Gasly in front of him on the harder tyres. So AlphaTauri looking to run to the end. They've got to hope that Jackson maybe doesn't make it on those medium tyres, but because the safety car is out, Jackson and HAAS may have played a blinder here because obviously they're going to run behind the safety car, so that's going to limit tyre wear even further. Jackson and HAAS might have made a very good call here, and if they can pass Gasly, Jackson, dare we say it, could be running for a podium. The safety car is in this lap. We are going to go back to green flag racing. Once again, Bottas will become, in effect, the safety car. They have all bunched up together. Lewis Hamilton is now back into play in P17. How far can he get in the remaining laps of this race? So Valtteri Bottas will have to control the pace, and we've had, like we said in Zandvoort, we've had carnage before on the restart, and we had a massive crash as soon as it happened. It was a scary incident, but now power under Parabonica they go. The safety car is at the pit lane, and Aiden Jackson is side by side with Pierre Gasly. He can't pass Gasly yet. He is not past the green flag. The first safety car line is there. Green flag racing. And has Aiden Jackson got enough speed? Did he get a decent enough restart to try to go down the inside of Gasly? He did, you know. Aiden Jackson's going for it, and he's going to pass him out of Gasly with P3, and he's done it. Aiden Jackson is now third. Fantastic restart by Aiden Jackson, passing Pierre Gasly. Clean like Gasly's also lost out to Lando Norris, so Gasly's the big loser at the restart. The big winner, Aiden Jackson in P3. Bottas and Perez have already checked down ahead of him, however. They're already a second behind. So now, can Jackson score a P3? This is absolutely wonders for HAAS at the moment. They have not reached these heights at all, legitimately, this season. They led the French Grand Prix due to pit stops, of course, but now Aiden Jackson is a legit P3. How far can this man go? Lewis Hamilton on the medium tyres. He might make it to the end on those. It's all a question now of how far he can get up the field. He's already going to go past the round the outside. Fernando Alonso, is he going to take him? There's going to be a Williams in front of him. That's going to be George Russell. Yes. Right, sweeping round the corner. Brilliant move by Lewis Hamilton. Brilliant move by the reigning world champion. We've got a battle for third. Lando Norris going down the inside of Aiden Jackson here at the Parabonica corner, and he's not got him. Now Norris is on the hard tyres as well, so Jackson's going to have a tyre advantage here, and he's made good use of it too. Of course, no DRS until the second racing lap after the safety car period. There is Max Verstappen, who's down in 7th. He's lost in places somehow. It's going to be down the inside goes Antonio Giovinazzi, followed by Charles Leclerc, who's darting everywhere. Back at the front, Jackson is side by side with Norris. I don't think Norris hit him. I hope not. I don't think so. But Jackson legitimately holding on to P3 then. Oh my goodness, action all the way in this Italian Grand Prix. Lance Stroll has passed Kimi Raikkonen now. Alfa Romeo will not be liking this scenario very much at all. Antonio Giovinazzi, however, is up in P7, so that might help. I don't think Giovinazzi has actually scored. Yeah, he did score. It was Raikkonen who scored at, I think it was the Belgian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton has now passed George Russell as well, so Hamilton is flying again. He's been pretty much on it for this race. He set the fastest lap that hasn't been beaten yet. Of course, you get an extra point for the fastest lap if you finish in the top 10. So Lewis still needs to get into the top 10 to earn that point, of course. Down the inside of Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. And once again, Hamilton is a man on a mission, passing cars. And Lance Stroll fought back. And took back the position. We've got almost 4 wide down this straight. There's all sorts of action going on. And it's not the typical Jackson train you're looking at here. There's actually a bit of a gap here. So the bigger the gap between positions, the better chance Jackson has of scoring more points. And now he's on for 12 because he's in a podium place. I don't think HAAS have finished on the podium yet. I could be wrong. I know they got P4 or P5 or P6 with Grosjean on their debut back in 2016, but I'm not sure if they've actually stood on the podium yet. Well, what man but Aiden Jackson to do it. You would probably expected nothing less. Hamilton has finally passed Lance Stroll, so he's now up into P14. Hamilton's having an absolute stunning recovery drive here in this conditions. And now he's chasing Kimi Räikkönen, which is going to really dampen the spirits at Alfa Romeo. But Antonio Giovinazzi is still running in P8. Max Verstappen has passed him for P7. And Verstappen's having a good race as well. Verstappen, he's kind of going under the radar, but these two, Bottas and Perez, having absolute cakewalks at the front. They are well clear of Aiden Jackson, who is still legitimately holding on to a very well-earned third place at the moment. Oh my goodness, Aiden Jackson could finally make the podium in his Formula 1 career, and it won't be his last. I think that can almost be a given. There's going to be Daniel Ricciardo down the outside of the Parabolica. Jackson tries to hang it in, and he does so. He's got such great confidence in the Parabolica corner. There's Max Verstappen passing Pierre Gasly, so Verstappen's on a roll. Now Daniel Ricciardo takes to the other side of the track. Jackson trying to not make another move and go to the middle. He's got DRS on Ricciardo because he was behind at the Parabolica. Jackson really playing some nice tactical game here. Trying not to lose too much time behind cars and then pick up the DRS down the straight. So nice tactical game being played there by Jackson. And I'll tell you something, the Ferrari power unit in that car definitely has the legs of the front runners today, except for Bottas and Perez, who are checking out at the front. Oh my goodness. And well, Aiden Jackson, he's had 2 points finishes this season, but I don't think he's been as high as this on legit pace. This is legit pace from Jackson, by the way. He's legitimately holding on to P3. And well, HAAS could be on for their best ever result. I think their best ever result was a 4th. I don't think they've been on the podium yet. I'd have to go back quite a long way to do that. I think if it was in a period, it would be from 2016 to about 2018. And then from 2019, it all kind of fell apart with the sponsorship deal and last year as well. So I think HAAS have been just shy of the podium a few times actually. But someone will have to correct me in the comments section. And or somewhere down the line. Sergio Perez got DRS on Bottas. He's not able to make any advantage with it. There's a flag. Charles Leclerc is slow. That is the reason for a yellow flag. I thought it was a bit of a traffic jam brewing, and everyone's going to have to swerve out of Charles Leclerc's way. The winner from Monza in 2019. His engine has gone in the Ferrari, and that has just dampened everybody in the spirits in the crowd. The Tifosi bearing their red colours for their beloved Ferraris, and one of them has broken down. But Aiden Jackson in a Ferrari powered car is still running P3, so that'll give them reason to cheer. Lewis Hamilton is absolutely flying. He's now up to P12 and he's catching Sebastian Vettel. Oh, what a shame for Charles Leclerc. He won this race in 2019, taking his 2nd career win after the first one had been in very emotional circumstances following the sad passing of Antoine Hubert at the Belgian Grand Prix in the F2 race in 2019, and then was able to let it all out in terms of celebrations in front of the Ferrari passionate Tifosi at Monza. Couldn't think of a better storybook kind of feeling there for Charles Leclerc. He was able to let all his emotions go. That was all pent up out of respect for Antoine Hubert, who sadly left us that weekend in the feature race. Perez is closing in on Valtteri Bottas here, folks. That is very interesting. The Red Bulls have not had it with the Mercedes in recent times, but today Perez is starting to show some pace. There is a front wing change for Daniel Ricciardo. He was behind Jackson, and there's 3 wide in the chicane. Hamilton has absolutely stole it. Oh my word, the reigning world champion is on fire. He's just passed Sainz and Vettel in the chicane. Oh my word, Hamilton is on it today. Well, what an interesting story we have here. Sergio Perez, even with Valtteri Bottas, sooner or later we may just have a change for this lead. And I'll tell you who else is doing well. Max Verstappen. up there in P4 chasing Aiden Jackson. So Daniel Ricciardo had damage somewhere. I doubt it was from Jackson because Jackson has been very clean in his racing so far. They've hit him rather than hitting them today. And now we're going to get another one. Max Verstappen, the man that Aiden Jackson drew very immediate comparisons to, down the inside as they go into the Parabonica here. And no, Jackson has it better midsection of the corner. He's going to hold it round the outside. Jackson isn't going to give this up. You can guarantee it. Has Jackson got DRS again from the Parabonica? No, he has not. This time, he's going to lose out to Max Verstappen with DRS. And he's going to follow him. He's going to follow him, Jackson. He's going to go around the outside. And he's going to make it stick. Aiden Jackson says, no, you are not going anywhere. Oh, my word. What a recovery there from Jackson. Fantastic stuff. Side by side into the inside of the corner. He gives Verstappen the room. Now, is he going to be able to retaliate here, Jackson? He's got very good cornering speed today. Oh, side by side, no contact there. And Jackson says, you are not getting third today. He's making his HAAS as wide as he can, because Jackson is on for a legit podium here as we are closing in on the final stages of this enthralling race, which has been dominated by Bottas and Perez. But behind them, it is all happening. And Aiden Jackson is racing hard but fair with anyone who comes into his vicinity to battle. Oh, take a breath. Lewis Hamilton is up to 8th. Carlos Sainz just passed Ocon into 9th. So Hamilton is flying. Antonio Giovinazzi is P7, which is crucial considering where Jackson is at the moment. Now Perez is very close to Bottas there. Bottas was offline a little bit, and Perez is going to have DRS. It's going to be very close, and he's going to split. Oh my goodness me! Perez has veered into the wall, and that is him out. And there's the safety car deployed. Oh my goodness, what an impact! Valtteri, again, the swerving of the cars, and even more under DRS. Perez with an almighty collision. And Max Verstappen had passed Jackson in all that as well. Oh, what a FUD by Perez here. I think he was going to go for the lead. He had such tremendous toe and speed, activated with DRS. Bottas took to the middle. Perez lost it under his own movement, and with the DRS open, that can happen. Of course, with DRS, that can actually happen. With the rear wing open, you can slip like that. So Perez really only probably has himself to blame there if we're being a little bit harsh. But in all that, Max Verstappen is now on course to maybe take a win in this race, because he passed Jackson before the yellow flags came out. And Jackson had a stunning restart, passing Gasly, but the problem he's got now is that those medium tyres will be slightly worn. I think Max's tyres will be younger. And there is Bottas. And once again, he's had his advantage completely wiped out. They were 10 seconds clear of Verstappen. And that's going to be wiped out. So once again, the safety car is out. For the 4th time in 2 races, we're making up for the lack of safety cars we had in the first 13 races of the season. There is Max Verstappen. And there is Aiden Jackson still holding on to P3 now with Perez out. Jackson is promoted back into the podium places, so he doesn't need to take any risks with Verstappen and Bottas now. He will, because that's who Aiden Jackson is. Oh my goodness, a tense final laps of this race then. We have Bottas leading from Verstappen, who has made a great fight back into 2nd place. Aiden Jackson, who's had a stunning race. And Lewis Hamilton, who's made a stunning recovery. About this man, can he do it? Can he be the first HAAS driver to get on the podium? This car has had no developments all season long. If Jackson can do this in an undeveloped vehicle, what he might achieve in his future is beyond his wildest dreams. Because this kid is just, he's on another level with most of the world, the 7-time world champion, and the men who would take over from him, such as Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Mick Schumacher even, who is sadly out of this race. But Aiden Jackson has thrown his hat right into the ring this season. And like we said, if he can do this in an undeveloped car, imagine what he could do in an Aston Martin. Or even, dare we say it, a Mercedes. I don't think he's going to go to Mercedes next season. I think they are going to stick possibly with Bottas and Hamilton. It would be very unfair for Mercedes to drop Bottas now, leading the championship comfortably ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So there are Aston Martin rumours swirling around Aiden Jackson, and if they're true, I think that's where we'd all want him to be. Because if HAAS don't get the new cars, then they're going to very much struggle. There was fears amongst cash and cash constraints. All the teams expressed their fears of these new cars being too much to develop for. And of course we had the budget cap introduced this season, along with the rule of the young drivers being given 2 practice sessions. Jackson's already had one and he will have the other at Abu Dhabi in the Mercedes. The safety car is in this lap, and look how close Aiden Jackson is to Max Verstappen. He doesn't want to let him get away. Bottas now becomes the safety car, and Jackson is wasting no time signalling his intent. He can't pass Verstappen until the first safety car line at the start finish straight. We are still under the safety car period. We are now into the final straight. Jackson pulls up alongside Verstappen. He can't pass him. He must not pass him. And there we go. Green flag. Now Jackson could pass it. And will he pass it? Will he have the legs of the Red Bull? No DRS activated until the second race lap under the safety car. Jackson's down the inside. And is he going to take for Bottas as well? He is. But oh my word. Jackson's taking the lead. He'd already passed Verstappen. He's taking the lead as well. How did he do that? Oh my goodness, he must have come from so far out to pass Bottas. He passed Bottas as well. Oh my goodness me. Jackson, with laps left, is leading the Italian Grand Prix. Let's have a look at this restart. Jackson was fired up immediately, intent on not letting Max Verstappen get away. Oh, he needs to be careful there. He'll get away with it. He was behind him. You can draw up alongside more or less. You cannot be ahead at any point, and if you are, you must give the position back immediately. And Jackson gets a stunning restart here, pulling up alongside Verstappen, more or less. And look at that. Jackson certainly earned this legit on Verstappen. A fantastic restart by Jackson. He's alongside Verstappen. How does he pass Bottas? He sends it. He completely sends it. And there was no contact there between Jackson and Bottas. Jackson sent it, and it was as clean as you like. Valtteri Bottas has lost the lead. The leader of the Italian Grand Prix of 2021 is Aiden Jackson. Look at that. No contact. If there was any there's contact. Verstappen and Bottas hit each other, and Verstappen actually passed Bottas in all that. So now Jackson is going to be like a 10 wide-eye truck, because right now he's leading with just a few laps left in this race. Oh my goodness, he has got a target on his back. He knows how to win races. He did here in F2 in the sprint race last year. And now Verstappen up. It's the DRS. Oh, Verstappen! Verstappen is out! Verstappen has crashed it! He has absolutely binned it down the start finish straight in the same way that Perez did. Oh, what an irony! And Jackson still leads. He kept out of Bottas and all that. Oh, and Verstappen absolutely dropping it. And I don't think there was any contact from Jackson here. I think there was a space. Let's have a look. I'm losing my voice right now. Yeah, he dropped it. Verstappen dropped it, probably with the DRS open, very similar to Perez. He's veering along the barrier. He'll be fine. I think Perez is out of the car and okay. He'll probably get checked up because it was quite a hefty knock that Perez suffered. Verstappen not as much. I think Verstappen will be okay. He's out of the car. Now Bottas down the inside of Parabonica. And guess who's third, folks? Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly's in third. And he won this race last year. And Bottas takes to the inside. He's going to have DRS. There's nothing Jackson can do about Valtteri Bottas coming down the inside. And no, there is no DRS, of course. No DRS. It'll be the next time, which will be the final lap of the race. Jackson trying to defend. He's done it. Oh, I think and just all of a sudden, this rain is taken on his head. Aiden Jackson could legit win this. He could win it. The kid from Northamptonshire who didn't even have a seat until he was promoted through Mercedes to HAAS. He's on loan there until the end of the season. He could grab his first win. What a story that would be. Jackson on the penultimate lap is leading this race. This kid knows how to win. He's won before, twice in Formula 2. Oh my goodness me. Well, we said HAAS may not have finished on the podium. They certainly haven't won a race in their time in F1 yet. The most underdeveloped vehicle on the grid in a fairy tale story could take the win here. Has Jackson got enough life in his tyres though? The safety car period has obviously helped tyre life. And they're going to be 3 wide going into the parabolica. Is that Gasly pulling out to the side? They are going to be 3 wide. Gasly trying to go for the inside of Bottas. That did come off. Gasly's lost out. Jackson and Bottas are side by side. And no, please. No, and Bottas has got him. Oh, surely yes. Oh, yes, he has. And Gasly's coming down the inside as well. Oh my goodness, they're everywhere. They're all over the track. Lewis Hamilton is up to 4th. And Jackson's going to hold it. Is he going to hold it? Yes, he is. Jackson's going to hold it. Oh my goodness me, how did he do that? Oh my goodness, I'm losing my voice. Oh, this is incredible. Aiden Jackson on the final lap may have just stolen the win here. Bottas down the inside. And no. And Lewis Hamilton now up to 4th. What a great recovery drive by Lewis Hamilton. But the focus here is on Aiden Jackson at the front to get HAAS their first win in Formula 1. He's all over the road. I think he's losing grip in the tyres. It's going to be a drag race to the end. There's Lando Norris as well. Fernando Alonso has made his way back up to 6th. He was at the back of the grid as well. Hamilton and Fernando Alonso have flown by. What drives from them two. But today, Aiden Jackson, the kid from Northampton, round the parabolica. Miracles can happen. Is he going to do it? Yes, he is. Aiden Jackson wins the Italian Grand Prix. Oh, words fail me. How did he do that? This kid has won the race.
Oh my lord, Aiden Jackson. I don't know how you did it, mate, but you've just won, I repeat, won the Italian Grand Prix. You absolute star. Get in, buddy. Oh, that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Guys, what? Oh my god, we did it. We won. Oh my god. Oh, wow. Oh my god. What? How did we? Oh my god. Jeff. Good to. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh. We did it, guys. We won the f***ing race. Oh my. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. Thank you, boys. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm shaking. Thank you, Aiden Jackson. Thank you. You star. You absolute star, mate. You took it. You took it, mate. I can't believe it. Oh, just thank you. Oh, wow.
Formula 1, where fairy tale stories are made. Aiden Jackson gives HAAS their first ever win in Formula 1 at the year and the track, a year on from the redemption arc of Pierre Gasly coming to an end. A new story has begun, the story of Aiden Jackson. You are not, pinch yourselves, you are not seeing things. HAAS and Aiden Jackson are winners in Formula 1 in 2021, where storybook fairy tales are made, ladies and gentlemen. I am beside myself. I can't believe it. The least developed car on the grid team resourcing towards 2022 in the fullest sense, and somehow, some way, Aiden Jackson has won in that. Unbelievable. 8th on the grid, 2 stunning restarts put him in that position. He had to be brave, he had to have those moves, and they paid off. And guess what? He didn't suffer a speck of damage from becoming a battering ram for everyone else. And he still won. The tenacity, the talent, the skill of Aiden Jackson fully on show. The Red Bulls absolutely catastrophe today. Double retirement at the same start finish straight, would you believe? Charles Leclerc dropping out with an engine failure. Mick Schumacher smashing into George Russell, and the Latifi losing his front wing at the start. Oh, I can't believe it. The kid from Northampton has took probably the most famous and most popular win of all time in Formula 1. In all my years of seeing Formula 1 on the TV, from commentating it to you today, this is the most popular win of all time. And boy, was I glad to be your commentator for it today. There you go, HAAS in P8, thoroughly deserved. He can't believe it, but it happened. Aiden Jackson is a winner. For the next few days at least, the championship will be a side story, because today we have a new winner in Formula 1. His name is Aiden Jackson, the team's name is HAAS, and that was just one of the most incredible things I have ever seen. This season has been fantastic, to quote Murray Walker. I am out of breath, my voice hurts. We'll see you in Russia. Thank you for watching. What a cracker.